Hey guys, thanks for joining me for an episode of Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and I'm joined today with my wife, Amanda. She's going to be going through this game with you guys so you can see it in action. So thank you, Amanda, for joining us for this. And we are going to be, thanks, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new game coming to Kickstarter called The Seals of Cthulhu. This is a game by Thing 12 Games. And it is a 1 to 2 player competitive game, so each player is competing against the other player to get the most points at the end of the game to be the overall winner. It takes roughly 15 to 20 minutes to play. So in the game itself, each player is going to either be playing the investigator or the cultist. The cultists are in Arkham, and they're basically trying to break the seals to bring the elder gods in and destroy the world. And the investigator is basically trying to stop them from doing that. So my opinions of this game so far are really good. I've really enjoyed a lot of the games that Thing 12 Games has put out in the past, and I was really interested to see what they were going to do with this one. So I really like the fact that it's very rules light. There's not a lot of rules and the complexity to it in that regard, but there's a lot of strategy. You have 6 cards to work with, but in order to incorporate those cards, I feel like you'd really have to play the game a couple times to get the full grip of the game and the depth of those cards in order to figure out how you're going to play them, how to really get into your opponent's head, and I really like that. I like that it is a very simple game, but there's a lot of options to it. And then with the Kickstarter, of course, there's a lot of additional things that are going to be added to it. So you'll be able to swap out those cards, the god cards, to get different cards, or you can have the roll cards as you get more experience with the game to add even another layer to it. So I really like that aspect of the game. So what is your opinion? What did you think of playing this game now that you've had a chance to play it a couple times?
I liked it a lot. I agree. I liked how it was seemingly very simple, but as you play it more, it grows in depth, and you can really incorporate a lot of strategy to it. So I thought that was a really cool part of the game as well. And I love the artwork. I thought the artwork was really impressive, and I like the theme of it as well. You know, being a Cthulhu themed game, I thought that was pretty cool. Overall, I thought it was a really good game.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I would agree. I really did enjoy the artwork, and a lot of the artwork that is on especially the additional cards is not done yet. So as the Kickstarter campaign goes on, we'll probably see some more of that. So let's go ahead and head to the table, and I'll show you guys what this is all about. So the first thing we need to look at are the cards themselves. So the top of each card is going to be the amount of control that card gets, or the amount of victory points you'll get at the end of the game. And then there's also a reminder here that labels what it is. Then you have that card's influence, which is it's buying power or its bidding power against your opponent. And again, a reminder of the influence points there. And then we have the card's name and the effects of the card. Most cards are going to be a mirror image of the other player's cards, so you have the investigator side on one side, and the cultist is going to have the opposite side, which when brought together, if one player controls both of these, then most of the cards will grant a special ability. For example, with the gate closure, it says if you control both face up, you may flip one face down, and if you do, then you get to flip another face up card face down. So each of these cards, when combined, will have an effect, but you must combine them. The one exception to this right now is going to be the potion, which can act on its own, so it does not have a mirror image of the other card. For setup, it's very straightforward. First off, each player is going to receive 4 influence tokens, or influence meeples. And then both the investigator and cultist are going to have the exact same cards. The investigator side will be the light side, and the cultist side is going to be the dark side cards. From there, then everybody's going to have the same cards for the first 5, which is the gate, the Necronomicon, potion, journal, and gate closure. In the basic game, you're also going to have the Shagoff, but in other games, as you get more advanced and you know how to play, there'll be alternate versions that you can switch out, which is the different gods. So, for example, we have Cthulhu here, and there's a number of different stretch goals that'll come into play to add new cards that will change up the way the game is played as well. There is also an additional thing. As you guys get more experienced in the game, there's going to be roles that the players will be able to play, and each one of these will grant players a specific power throughout the game. And these are, again, the investigator side, and then we'll have the cultist side. And as you can see, there's placeholders for the artwork, so some of this stuff is still in the works. So now I'm going to take you guys through a couple turns, and my wife has decided to join me tonight to demonstrate this. Again, like I said, this is a prototype copy, so some of this stuff is not going to be the same that the ones that you're going to get. So first off, we have to choose the active player, and again, this marker is one of mine. It's not one that is included in the game. So in order to do that, you can take a meeple from each one, shuffle it up in your hand, have somebody blind draw it, or simply choose a player. So I'm going to go ahead and have my wife do it. And at this point, we're going to take the cards into our hand, and during our turn, the active player is going to choose one of their cards in their hand to place face down on the table, and then they're going to choose a number of influence points to bid on that card. And they're basically trying to bid to gain control of that card. At this point, now that she has placed her bid, it comes over to me to make an option. I can either up the bid by placing more influence, or I can accept that bid and take the influence into my hand, or add it to my pile. So I'm going to go ahead and up that influence. I'm going to bid 2. So at this point, it will go back over to my wife to make the decision to either accept the influence that I have offered, in which case then I will gain her card, or she can bid higher to try to gain control of that card again.
So I decided to call and raise you.
Okay. So she has bid 3 to my 2. So I'm going to go ahead and accept her offer. So I will gain her influence and mine, and she will get that card to be placed face up on the table. And then at that point, if she had other cards up on the table, she could use any of the abilities that she was able to use on those cards. But right now, since this is her first card, she will not be able to use any abilities, and so the active player token will move over to my turn. And I will do the same thing. So I will play a card face down, and then I will choose a number of influence to play. So I'm going to go ahead and try to play 1 influence. So at this point, it would go back over to her turn, at which point, now, as she has cards in play, she can actually use those cards' influence points to make a bid against mine. It is a risky move because you can potentially lose the card you're bidding on, but it also can be a powerful move if used at the right point. So what would you like to do?
I will bid my Necronomicon.
I was afraid of that. Okay, so her Necronomicon is worth 4 influence points. So in order for me to beat that, I would have to play 5 influence points of my own in order to beat that, which is a pretty hefty price and could swing the table or the game in her favor quite a bit. So I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to accept that card, so I will receive her bid. This comes back over to me, but she gets the card to play. And as you guys could see, I made a mistake. I was thinking that she was not going to play her Necronomicon, so this card is actually worth 5 points at the end of the game. So a big shift for me, as her card is only worth 2. So it was a major mistake on my part, but that I would have lost a lot of influence trying to gain that card. So it's a decision whether or not that was worth it or not. I opted for it not to be. And again, like I said, at the end of my turn or during my turn, if I had cards that were matching, I could actually play the ability on the bottom of them. At this point in time, I do not. The only card that could be played on its own would be the potion, which I don't have. Otherwise, in order to use a card's ability, I must have both copies of that card to use it, as the card's description states. So at this point, the game is going to go back and forth with players doing this for 5 rounds. At the end of the game, each player is going to have 1 card left in their hand, which is going to be useless, and then they're going to total up all the control points that they have. And there are cards out there that are going to give negative control points, so players will not want to have those in their hands. And during the game, you can form combos, such as the potion would let you flip over a face down card that you have used already, face up again, and then you could combine it with something else. So there are a lot of abilities that you can chain together to offer even more strategy and ways that you can get into your opponent's head. Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you like this video, if you enjoy what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it really does help me to continue to grow and bring new and exciting games to you guys. And as always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my videos and to leave me feedback on them. I do really appreciate it, and I do take into account everything you guys say. And also, if you're interested, swing by my Facebook and Twitter accounts. The links are down below. Let me know what you guys are playing, what you're interested in. If this is a game you're looking at backing or any other game that you're interested in, let me know in those comments. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.